Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Jets Talk Now. I'm Paul Fiore. Thanks for joining. Please click like and subscribe. We are approaching 300 subscribers, which is awesome. 2 days before the new year. Be awesome to hit the 300 subscriber mark before the new year. But I do appreciate everyone who has found our channel and just enjoy the content and hopefully some relatively unemotional. I can get emotional, but relatively unemotional opinions when it comes to this football team. Um, Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jets draft status, some basic, some Jets news, because no matter what, even though our team is 3-13 and just awful, they always give us something to talk about. There's always news. And some stuff that's been circulating on the on online and in local media regarding Aaron Glenn. Um, yes, I am sick. I have been sick for the last couple of days. I'm doing my best to kind of push through it. So my voice is a bit froggy, and but what's weird is I feel better today than I did on Sunday. So I sound terrible, but I feel a lot better. But anyway, Jets draft clarity. So last night's results, with the Rams losing to the Falcons, the Jets are clearly now locked in, and in this, well, they're not locked in, but they can't go higher than 3 in the draft organically. Um, the only way they can go higher than 3 is through a trade. But they can certainly fall below 3 if they found a way to beat the Bills. At this point, there's nothing to be rooting for except for them to lose, because you don't want them to fall below 3. That would just be an absolute atrocious outcome for the season that we've been put through as fans, right? You need it to be all worth something in the end, right? So if you're going to say, I think this is anything in life, right? Like, it's darkest before dawn. It's the go through the dark and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Give people reason for hope. So if you were to say to a Jet fan, you're going to have an awful season, historically bad in how badly you're losing games. In the month of December, the Jets have set an NFL record for point differential in losing by 20 plus points for 4 straight games. But it's going to be worth it in the end. The question is, will it be? Right? And we as fans have spent 15 years hoping for that light at the end of the tunnel. I've had some false prophecies along the way, whether that's Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, or the false hope of Robert Saleh. I mean, you can just go through the names and the different things that have given Jet fans life going into a new season. This year it was, we're bringing in Aaron Glenn. The Jets' history is kind of a fun selling point. He knows what it is to be a New York Jet. We have a lot of nostalgia. He's going to change the culture and fix the team. I mean, it's year 0 to me. It's not year 1 because, well, let me talk about that in a bit. It's kind of a year point 5, because I actually think the season can be broken into 2 distinct outcomes. You have the first half of the year when there was a plan. That plan fell apart, and then they pivoted. And so, I think it's disingenuous of Aaron Glenn to say we have a plan, and everybody in this building knows the plan, and we've always had a plan, when the reality is you did have a plan, but you pivoted from that plan because the plan fell apart. Like, that's just the reality. Glenn did not come in here intending to go 3-14 or 4-13 this year. All you got to do is watch his interviews and everything else. before the season. He believed that they could make Justin Fields a good quarterback. He believed he had the talent to win. Now, I don't fault him for the belief. I maybe fault him for the bravado and the attitude with which he presented that before he ever coached an actual game. But they pivoted because the team was terrible. And, I actually commend them for the pivot. That's not my criticism of this season, actually. I have a lot more other things that I have issue with. But anyway, we'll talk more about Glenn in a bit. The Jets are currently in the third spot behind the Raiders, who are 1, the Giants, who are 2. And winning Sunday would be catastrophic, right? They can't win. And I'm worried a little bit because Vegas has the line at 7. Because Buffalo is going to rest their starters. Now, it's the final game in Buffalo at the stadium. The Jets look like a JV football team. I can't see a world where they win this game, except that as a Jet fan, anything is possible. But winning that game, you might as well, I'll tell you right now, if they win that game, woo, you're going to see, you think dissension exists right now in the fan base? You're going to see chaos. So let's hope that it's a quiet ho-hum Sunday, they lose. Now, there is a world, this matters, where the Giants could still pick number 1 and the Raiders go to 2. And most people are going to say it's not possible because the Raiders will not win a football game. Do not make that simple assumption. I know the Raiders are intentionally tanking. We know this. But let's take a look at the actual circumstances of Week 18. The Giants are playing Dallas. I think Dallas is better than the Giants. I think Dallas wins that football game. Unless they pull all their starters, I don't see it. I think Dallas wins the game. Okay? Dallas isn't worried about the Giants getting the first pick or not. Dallas wins, let's say. Kansas City's going on the road to Vegas with their third-string quarterback in a division rival game. And Pete Carroll's job security is the furthest thing from certain. I mean, I think Ian Rappaport put it out there yesterday. There's a lot of speculation that Pete's gone, right? He's a one and done. So Pete Carroll's not going to lose the game on purpose. Now, they've sat these guys. That's true. But you can never tell what happens. The guys on the field are not trying to lose. So Andy Reid may be pulling everybody by the end of that game because what's his incentive to win that game? There isn't any. So in a world where it's possible, it's not probable, Kansas City could lose to the Raiders, the Giants lose, and the Giants secure the number 1 spot. There's a couple of things that have to happen in strength of schedule, but we don't need to cover that this moment. I think those things will happen most likely. If that happens, we actually wind up better than where we were at the beginning of Week 17. In the beginning of Week 17, the Giants were the first spot. The Jets were 4. Cleveland was 3. So with all of this chaos, there could be a final outcome where the Giants land 1, the Raiders are 2, the Jets are 3. The Jets then have a choice to make. The Giants are going to be open for business at 1. So a lot of people are going to say the Jets should stick and pick at 3. But if the Giants get the number 1 pick, Arizona, the Rams, potentially, Cleveland, Miami. There's so many teams that need a starting quarterback that will call the Giants, who they know don't, to be open for business. So let's just say the Jets are going to stick and pick. The Giants trade out of 1. Well, now a QB needy team goes to 1. A QB needy team is 2. The Jets are 3. They're going to lose out. So what do? Do you root for the Giants to beat Dallas or for the Raiders to win? I mean, lose. So this way the Raiders stick at 1, the Giants stick at 2, and the Jets stick at 3? Um, I don't, because the Giants are going to be able for business at 2 also. Giants are going to be looking to acquire assets. And so a conservative view from a Jet fan would be, well, if we have to trade up to get to 2 to protect getting the quarterback, that should be cheap. We could do that. It's true. But now you're basically taking seconds behind the Raiders. Who do the Raiders want? If the Raiders want Mendoza, and he was by far the Jets' number 1 guy, well, now you're settling for a second quarterback that maybe wasn't your guy. I don't think you should do that, because I don't think Aaron Glenn is walking into year 2 very, very safe from a long-term perspective. So if you have a high grade on Mendoza, and I don't know if they do or they don't, I'm just running through the psychology of this, because fans are going to have their opinions. I have mine. Doesn't matter. It matters what Muji and Glenn think. If Moore and Mendoza are 1 and 1A to them and they're close, doesn't matter. You're going to have to probably trade up to protect yourself at number 2, because you can't get to number 2 organically. But if the Giants land number 1, the Jets, if they want a quarterback, and I think they should, this is my personal opinion, you don't draft a quarterback this year, you're not getting a year 3. That's my opinion. I'll tell you why in a minute, but the Jets may need to go from 3 to 1 to land Mendoza. It's not going to be crazy expensive. Okay. It'd probably be a pick swap and their Colts pick. Maybe a later pick later on. You're going to say, oh my God, we're giving up 2 number 1s and a 3rd or 4th round pick in 2027. Well, you're not giving up 2 number 1s. You're giving up 1. You're doing a pick swap. So you can't count that as a giving up of a pick. So if they have conviction that Mendoza is their franchise guy, or more for that matter, and they want to make sure that he's the guy because the other one they don't feel that way about, giving up 1 first-round pick to land him is a no-brainer. You just got to be right. So that's my perspective on the draft. Jets are 3rd, unless they find a way to stupidly win the game. For them to secure a quarterback, they're either going to have to move up to 2 with the Giants, or if the Giants land number 1, they're going to have to move up to number 1. They're not going to be able to sit at 3 and just pick. It's not going to happen, because the Giants will trade out of 1 or 2. They will. So, pick your poison. Me, if we're going to have to trade anyway, I want the Jets to get Mendoza, because I grade him out as my number 1. Now, you may say, well, who the hell are you? You're just a fan. That's true. But we're all just fans, and everybody has opinions. So who's to say anyone's opinion is right or wrong? We find that out when the games are played. I've watched a lot of Mendoza. I've watched a lot of Moore. I've watched a lot of Simpson. I just feel like Mendoza's got so many intangibles and traits that I want in a starting quarterback that I'm willing to make the move to get him, especially if I'm Muji and Glenn. That's me. Now, Jets news. Whew. This is the stuff that makes you get nervous about Aaron Glenn, at least to me. Some may not feel this way. I don't care how badly they lose. I've said this before. It doesn't matter to me. But the end of game on Sunday, he came out in the presser and he said that he was upset with the effort, essentially. He was disappointed on the last home game of the season that was the effort that was put forth by the team. Now, I think as you guys all know, what happens is Glenn speaks, then they open the locker room, and the beat goes in and talks to the players. Well, Glenn said that And then what happens? They go to guys like Jermaine Johnson and others, and they talk about Aaron Glenn's perspective on effort, and they scoff at it, right? I mean, I think you literally saw Jermaine Johnson go, right? So then Monday rolls around. Glenn comes up to the podium. Very first thing he does is pivots, completely pivots, and says, effort was great. I don't think he said great. Effort was not an issue. It was, we were out schemed, and there were things that we didn't adjust to. So let's just say that that was true. Is that not alarming? That the head coach is saying, hey, we prepared for this football team, but they just out schemed us, and we didn't adjust well. We didn't do the right things, and so we lost. Well, you didn't lose. You got your teeth kicked in. That's scary. A couple of weeks ago, Aaron Glenn said, it's not about the X's and O's. Look, I'm not sitting here pounding the table to fire Aaron Glenn right now. I'm not. I think I said this to you guys last time. I'm indifferent whether he's fired or not. Team is so far away from being good. But the reality of it is, show me a game where we have a competitive advantage in coaching, in philosophy, in X's and O's. And you'll be showing me the very first game that I've seen since he's been head coach. I am highly worried that Aaron Glenn is an old school throwback head coach that believes that being a leader of men and through through sheer force of will, we're going to out tough you. And he brought up his brand of football in the same presser, which was mind-blowing. He referenced the Jaguars game, which was a blowout loss. But he referenced the end of the third quarter and how they ran the football and how we looked tough. I mean, look, I really want Aaron Glenn to be good at the job. I want him to be successful. Did anybody watch the 49ers and Bears game on Sunday night and look at it and go, we're not playing in the same league as these guys? You had two incredibly intelligent offensive head coaches who just kept scheming and outthinking the defenses all game. It came down to the final play. It was a fantastic football game. Are the Jets even anywhere in the same ballpark as these teams when it comes to scheme? Forget about talent for a second. Look at the Jags. The Jags are a 12-win football team this year. They won 4 games last year. They didn't measurably improve their talent. The Jets won more games than them last year, but they've got a head coach that is a brilliant mind, an offensive genius. Okay, cool. He gets a defensive guy in there that knows how to get the ball turned over. It's so much easier to me, unless you're Mike Vrabel, who's a long-standing head coach who knows how to build a staff. It is so much easier to me when you are an offensive-minded head coach who truly understands the game and knows how to scheme and win on X's and O's, to then get in someone who's a good defensive coordinator to get you to be competent on that side of the ball. You're just at a competitive disadvantage when you're someone like Aaron Glenn, who has not been involved in the defense this year, who is not an X's and O's guy. I mean, admittedly, I think, who's trying to just be this culture warrior. I mean, watch them play football. Like, I know that they are tanking, but they're missing assignments. They're fooled consistently. This is not how a football team is supposed to look in today's modern football. So when Glenn backtracks the way he does at the podium, and then he references the type of football he thinks is the brand of the game of the football that they want to play, my alarm bells are ringing like crazy. No different than they were when the team started 0-7. Two things can be true. The last 5 games of this season are a waste of time in trying to judge Aaron Glenn and his ability to be a head coach. But the first half of the season, when we're trying to win football games, is absolutely a fair judge of what type of head coach he is. And to this point, he has been anything but a good head coach. One could argue he's been probably one of the worst head coaches in football. And I don't mean because of their record. I don't see him giving them a competitive advantage on the X's and O's. He chose Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks was terrible. He runs an outdated defense. He made no adjustments. Tanner Engstrand, I said it before, I give him an incomplete because the quarterback was terrible. The quarterback was chosen by Aaron Glenn, by all reports. The Jets tanked, but they tanked in a way that will land them the 3rd pick in the draft. So they won't even be able to get the number 1 quarterback unless they make a trade. It's such a disappointing season because I would love for Aaron Glenn to just have a moment of honesty at the podium. And I just think that he's not very good at it. He changed what he said at the podium because of what happened in the locker room. He believed the effort was terrible. If any of us fans were being honest, we would agree with that. Defensively, the effort was awful. They weren't trying to make big tackles in that game. Yeah, they're playing an undrafted rookie quarterback, but I'm talking about pure effort. And by the way, on defense, a fair number of the guys playing are starters. Sherwood played, Quincy played, Phillips played, Briggs played, Stevens played, Malachi Moore played. I mean, we can go down. It's like 7 starters, I think, were on the defense out of 11. Jermaine played. I mean, New England could have scored 70 points if they wanted to. So, and again, I don't care about the result, but the team did quit. The defense did quit. Glenn should have stuck to his guns on that. The reason why he didn't is because he's worried about the locker room. He's worried about losing the locker room, which leads me to this, his status as the head coach. I am 95% certain Aaron Glenn is coming back next year. I think there's no world that Woody Johnson, who handpicked Aaron Glenn and told all of us we got the guy, right? There's not a world where he's going to move on. I don't think. Now, here's my 5%. Woody's got to be pissed. There's no way Woody's sitting there happy watching his football team get their doors blown off every week. Even if Glenn said to him, this is a teardown, we're going to rebuild it. You can't feel good that your home stadium has more fans from the opposing team than your home fans, that you're non-competitive, that in interviews your players are essentially sounding like they'd rather be anywhere but on your football team, that the media, the fans, everyone is treating you like the laughing stock of all professional sports. He's a human being, and he's a fan too. There's that part of him that I don't say is 0%, that he doesn't say, I can't do this. Now, the problem is for Woody, if he was to rip the Band-Aid off What does he do? Where does he go? How do you fix it? The only answer is he has to go get someone like Leon Hess got Parcells. That's the only move that if he fires Glenn now, his only move is a Tomlin or a Harbaugh. I don't even think it's a McCarthy. And I know a lot of people look at McCarthy and they go, oh, they laugh because he's older, and they treat it like he's some piece of garbage. I mean, guys, if the Jets hired Mike McCarthy, he would be the best head coach they've had in years. He's won a Super Bowl. He won multiple double-digit games with the Dallas Cowboys. The guy's not some trash head coach. But I'll even admit, and he's somebody I wanted them to look at last year, I don't think you could fire Glenn, bring Mike McCarthy in, and it makes everyone happy. I don't think it does. Tomlin, Harbaugh, even if these guys can't get you to the promised land, the Jets are completely devoid of any semblance of an NFL football team right now. You need someone to create an environment that has the Jets no longer being the laughingstock and become a destination that people would want to play at. They need credibility back. Does Aaron Glenn have credibility right now? Is he going to be able to go out and get free agents? I mean, it'll be friends of Glenn kind of stuff, or they're going to have to massively overpay. It's a really bad spot. So, to me, you don't keep a head coach because you don't know who you can bring in. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, if you let him trade Sauce, you let him trade Quinnen and get all this draft capital, I would be shocked if he fired him and brought in, and I think highly of this guy, but let's say he hired Clint Kubiak. It's still a first-time head coach dealing with the 15-year misery that is the New York Jets. If Mike Tomlin somehow leaves Pittsburgh, do you think if Glenn said, if Woody said, the keys to the castle are yours, I am completely removed, I'm going to pay you a stupid amount of money, you're getting the Bill Parcells treatment. If Tomlin took that job, do you think he'd be worried about the New York media, the history of this organization? I mean, the guy's a Pittsburgh Steeler. He's dealt with it for years. You got people trying to fire this guy. He's never had a losing season. It's kind of silly. It's Andy Reid leaving Philly, going to Kansas City. Harbaugh, same thing. Those, to me, are the only options that make sense that the fan base would rally behind. Even though it is completely legitimate for people to question Aaron Glenn and his ability to do this job. There is nothing he's done this year that will make you feel confident going into year two. It's why I believe if he's going into year two, he has to find himself a rookie quarterback that he can start developing and point to success with if he's going to try and get a year three. I don't believe Woody's going to have the patience that he's had if he keeps him. I don't. Woody's going to want wins. Maybe not playoffs, but he's going to want 7 wins, 6, 7 wins, directional improvement, not being the laughing stock of the NFL. I mean, he's going to want that, right? So if you're Aaron Glenn right now and you're getting year two, I'm telling you guys, if the Giants get the first pick in the draft, the Jets are going to make a trade for number 1. I'm calling it today. If the Giants find their way to the number 1 pick, the New York Jets will trade up and get a quarterback. Unless they know that someone like Mendoza, whoever it might be, will fall to them, they are not going to not draft a quarterback. They would, telling you there's no way. In regards to the article that was posted yesterday, and I kind of retweeted it on X yesterday, it's a nothing burger in my mind. Now, I could be wrong, but like an Outkick article that gives an opinion without any sourcing that says Aaron Glenn better hope Woody doesn't change his mind. I mean, that's me. I'm saying the same thing. I mean, I could sit here right now and say, Aaron Glenn better hope Woody doesn't wake up Monday morning and go, enough of this shit, and he just fires everybody. That's not a sourced article. That's not Aaron Glenn's on the hot seat. Craig Carton talking about Bill Belichick. It's ridiculous. Okay. That's ridiculous. But Woody's not dumb. He knows the fan base is completely just in shambles. He sees his season ticket numbers falling apart. If Aaron Glenn gets a year 2, you don't think he's going to sit down with Aaron Glenn and say, look, Aaron, I love you. I'm going to give you a hug every day. Sure as shit, this better look better next year. And you don't think Glenn's going to feel that? And you may say that means he's going to panic and go get a quarterback. Call it what you want, guys. The Jets have to make a decision on the quarterback position for the long term. And if these guys think they can punt to 2027, I promise you, they will not be the ones making that decision in any way. So is Aaron Glenn's status safe? 95% he's safe. How warm is his seat rolling into 2026? It's a 5. If their quarterback going into 2026 is some stopgap Justin Fields type QB with no rookie sitting behind that could be put into the position, and they go 0-5, 0-4, 1-5 to start the season, I don't know about you, but look at that schedule. It's not good. His seat's going to be a 7 or 8. And I think it's very, very likely that if they are terrible by midseason next year, you could all but write the obituary of Aaron Glenn as head coach of the Jets. And that would suck. Because even though I am sitting here telling you I could justify firing him right now, the last thing I want to do is watch Aaron Glenn get sent out in a ball of fire, failing as a head coach. And it sucks. So what would I do if my personal opinion, because it sounds like I'm playing Switzerland here because I'm not giving it. I'm bringing Aaron Glenn back for year 2 unless Tomlin and Harbaugh free up. If Tomlin and Harbaugh leave, get fired, whatever, I am firing Aaron Glenn and I am giving those guys Bill Parcells deals. That's what I'm doing. Okay. And people will have the Jet job as the worst job in football. No, it's not. They have 5 number 1 picks in the next 2 years, 5 first-round picks. They have multiple high-end draft capital. It's still New York. It's still one of 32. You have an owner who's willing to spend the money on the head coach if he goes and gets those guys. And I promise you, that is Woody's 80. I'm an 80-year-old man. That's the Leon Hess move. But that's the only, so again, if I'm Woody, I don't make a decision on Monday about Aaron Glenn until I see what happens with other guys. If those guys aren't going anywhere, Aaron Glenn gets year 2. But that's all he gets. And they need to show improvement. Significant improvement. It can't look like this. And when I say this, it's not right now. It's what it looked like the first half of the season when they were incompetent as a football team. And don't quote 1-score possessions as some defense of Aaron Glenn. How many 1-possession games did they lose last year? You defending Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh? You can't. It's NFL football. The vast majority of these games are 1-score games. That's why if you look at point spreads, they're usually less than 7 points. They're outliers when you lose by double digits, except if you're the New York Jets. So don't make those excuses. Please don't. So that's where I'm standing right now. I'm keeping Aaron Glenn unless I can get a Godfather head coach in here. That's how I feel. But I want Aaron Glenn to get me a quarterback. I want the Jets to trade up to get a quarterback. Do whatever they got to do. For me, it's Mendoza. I'm going to bring on people. I've been teasing this, but next week, I'll bring my first guest on. We'll talk about quarterbacks, college QBs. We'll talk about Aaron Glenn. We'll do a review of the season. And then during the offseason, we'll do more of that. We'll have not just quarterback. We'll just talk about fixing the team in general. We'll talk about all kinds of good, fun stuff. Later this week, I'll do a preview of the game. But we'll do our picks around the league. We'll do our Fiore 4. I went 3-1 this week on my Fiore 4. I had Pats minus 13.5. I hit that. Eagles plus 1.5. I hit that. Colts plus 7. I hit that. And then I lost the Chargers minus 1. Overall for the week, not great. I went 8-7 against the spread, but man, that's 3 straight weeks. I'm above 500 on handicapping against the spread. And if you find a handicapper that gets you that type of outcome, you'd be very happy. And I'm giving those away for free. So follow along. Click like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Follow me on X at Paul Fiore. Appreciate it. Apologize again for the voice. Hopefully when I get back on here on Thursday, I don't sound like I have a frog in my throat. Take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in.